Hi there, it's Mrs. Gifford, and this is lesson 6.11 in our math book. So first I want to start out with a question for you. Where in the news have you seen math? Take a second to think about that. If that's in newspapers or magazines or articles that you read on the internet or news that you watch on TV, where have you seen math in the news? What do you think? Do you have an answer? It might sound something like some statistics that you hear, some percentages that they might share on the news. Sometimes they include tables or graphs in different news articles. That is all math. So today we are going to be looking at some statistics that were shared in a news article. Now, the statistics that we are talking about have to do with baseball. Isn't that fun? So, let's look at them. So it says in this report, the Wheaton Wolves win Little League World Series Championship. Woo-woo! The chart shows some statistics from the 6 games the team played. So it's going to give us some information about how well the Wheaton Wolves played. So their statistics. Their times at bat was 155. Their hits was 47. Base on balls, 25. Runs scored, 36. And strikeouts, 36. So that's some good information, but what are we going to do with it? Now, I'm going to ask you some questions, and we're going to be able to figure out from this information given to us what the answers to those questions are. So let's get started. All right, so the first question that is asked that we're going to figure out from the information that we have here is how many times at bat did players not strike out or get a base on balls? Now, we've been working with two-step word problems, and this is no exception. It's going to have 2 steps to it. So let's read it one more time, and I want you to be thinking about what kind of equation could we write, what math operations are we going to do to be able to figure this out. So how many times at bat did players not strike out or get a base on balls? Go ahead and pause the video if you need some more time to think. So, first, we're going to identify the information from our statistics that we're actually going to be using. Okay, so in our word problem, it mentions times at bat, which was 155. It also mentions strikeouts, which is down here at the bottom of our graph. And it also mentions a base on balls. So let's see. It asks how many times at bat did players not strike out or get a base on balls? What does that sound like to you? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division? What do we think? So it seems to me like we're going to start with the total number of times at bat. So we're going to start with 155 times at bat. Now we want to know how many times they did not strike out and not get a base on balls. So we could subtract how many times they struck out, and then from that number subtract the number of times they got base on balls. Or we could combine those 2 numbers together. Now, what does the word combine make you think of? Addition, right? So we're still going to subtract that combination of numbers. So I'm going to do 155 minus how many times they got base on balls plus how many times they got strikeouts. And that will give us our total number of times that they did not get a strikeout or a base on balls. So from my equation that we made here, what do we need to do first? the stuff that's in the parentheses, because we always do parentheses first. So I'm going to, over to the side, stack these on top of each other, because it's easier to add and subtract if they're stacked. So 5 plus 6 is 11. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 more from when we regrouped, or made a new group. So 5 plus 1 more is 6. So in our parentheses, 25 plus 36 was 61 times. So that's how many times they did get a strikeout or a base on balls. But we're trying to find out how many times they did not. So we need to do that second step of this problem by bringing down that 155 minus 61. So I'm going to erase this so I have some room here on the side. And I'm going to stack them on top again. 155 minus 61. We always start at our ones place. Doing 5 minus 1 is 4. Oh, then we go to our tens place. 5 minus 6. Is that easy to do? No. So, if I can't do 5 minus 6, I need to ungroup from the next place over, which is our hundreds place now. So here I would cross out that 0. Now or cross out that 1, put a 0 on top. Now there's nothing in that hundreds place. And I'll put my 1 in front of my tens place. Now you'll notice, even if I hadn't ungrouped that, I could just do that 15 tens minus that 6 tens. So either way, however it helps you to think about it. So 15 minus 6 is what? 9. Okay, so our answer is going to be 94 times. Because there were 94 times that they were at bat, that they did not strike out, and they did not get a base on balls. So there's our answer to that first question. All right, so here is the second question that we're going to figure out using the information that we have from this table. So it says, how many hits and base on balls did not result in a run? Now, there might be some of you who are not super familiar with baseball, and I have to admit, I'm not that familiar with it either. But that's okay, because we can use the information that we have to still figure out this problem. So you don't have to be an expert about baseball in order to answer these kinds of questions. So let's read the question again and identify what information from our table we're going to be using this time. Okay. So how many hits and base on balls did not result in a run? Okay, what's the first piece of information that we are going to be looking at? How many hits? Okay, so hits. So I know I'm going to use this piece of information. And base on balls. Okay, that is that number. So I know that I'm going to use that piece of information. And it did not result in a run. Okay, so runs scored. That means I know that I'm going to use that piece of information as well. So let's look at the question again. Think about what kind of equation you could write. If it's going to be using addition, subtraction, what do you think? How many hits and base on balls did not result in a run? So I'm going to say that this word and kind of makes me think that I need to combine two of my pieces of information, my hits and my base on balls. So got my hits were 47 and my base on balls are 25. If I'm combining those two numbers together, what do I need to do? I add them, right? And then we're trying to figure out how many of those did not result in a run. So, let's think about how we're going to do that. So we know that some of these resulted in a run, but not all of them. So if we are taking away the ones that did result in a run, and we just want to know how many are left over, what kind of operation would we use? Yeah, subtraction. If we're taking away part of it and we want to know what that other part is, we're going to use subtraction. So 47 plus 25, we can put that in parentheses so that we know that we need to combine those first. And then we can subtract the number of runs that were scored to get our answer. So let's figure it out. All right, so we're going to do what's in parentheses first because we always do what's in parentheses first. I'm going to put that over to the side and stack it on top of each other so it's easier to add up. And then what is 7 plus 5? 12. So I'm going to put my 2 down in the ones place and regroup that 10 with my tens place. And then I'm going to do 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 more is 7. So I know that 47 plus 25 is 72. And then I got to bring this part, that second step of my two-step equation, and do 72 minus 36. So I'm done with this addition, so I can erase that. So then I have some room to stack this up. 72 minus 36. All right, starting with our ones place. 2 minus 6, that's a little tricky, so we're going to have to go to the tens place, ungroup one of those tens, and then put it in the ones place. So now I have 12 minus 6. Is that a little easier to do? Yeah. So 12 minus 6 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. So 72 minus 36 is 36. And what does that number represent? Our answer is how many hits and base on balls did not result in a run. That's what that number represents. All right, so this is going to be the last question that we are going to answer using the information that we got from our statistics here. It says the Wheaton Wolves had 13 triple or double base hits, 3 home runs, and the rest were single base hits. How many single base hits did the team get? All right, so this one's a little bit different because we are going to combine some of the information that we get from the statistics on this chart and some of the information that we get from the word problem. So let's look here. I'm going to underline where I'm going to get information from the problem, and I'm still going to do a little arrow next to where we get information from the chart. So the Wheaton Wolves had 13 triple or double base hits. So I'm going to underline 13 triple or double base hits. 3 home runs. That's some more information that we'll need. 3 home runs. And the rest were single base hits. How many single base hits did the team get? So I feel like there's one piece of information that we're missing from here that we're going to get from here. So where can we find the total number of hits that the team had? Yeah, it's right here. It's not 47. So they had 47 total. 13 of those were triple or double base hits. 3 of them were home run hits, and the rest were single. So how are we going to write an equation that helps us solve that problem? Go ahead and pause the video now and try to write your own equation to help you solve this problem. All right, so in order to find the answer to this problem, I'm first going to start with the total number of hits that they had, because I know that part of them were single base hits. I want to take away the part that weren't to find out how many were single base. So I'm going to start with my total. So 47 hits, and then I'm going to subtract the number of triple or double base hits and the number of home runs. So I said the word and, meaning I need to combine those two numbers, and then I can subtract it. So I'm going to do 47 minus 13 plus 3. I can do that one real quick. What's 13 plus 3? 16. And then 47 minus 16. Whoops. Minus 16. I'm going to stack those